I wasn't even trying to get pregnant. It happened on accident, and I started birth control and was pregnant. I didn't imagine that, I didn't imagine I was going to get pregnant. I didn't imagine I was going to have kids or want to breastfeed. But I mean, we get older and we get wiser, and I guess I just can see why this stuff is only sold to children or people who are incredibly vulnerable and desperate. I was never concerned about my fertility when I was trans-identifying, nor when I was being medicalized. I actually think I would have been worrisome if I did want to have children when I was 17, and instead I was developmentally appropriate for my age and not interested in having children or breastfeeding. And I had also been through a sexual assault, which resulted in a miscarriage, which my doctors knew about. This just all made motherhood and womanhood and all of it unpalatable to me. It was the last thing I was thinking of. Testosterone changed my sexuality. Oh, I wasn't physically attracted to men until I started testosterone. Of course, maybe it was just becoming an adult, you know? I thought that I could only safely engage with men as a man. I thought that sex happens to women, but men have sex because they want to. I didn't care about myself, so I wasn't doing anything to stay safe, and I didn't get pregnant. And then eventually, the detransition came, and the detox from gender ideology and other self-harming behaviors came, and I met my boyfriend. Eventually, I started going to the doctor and seeking health care for the detransition-related issues, particularly hormone imbalance. I had another appointment with this lovely doctor who was finally willing to see me. I told him I had missed my period because he asked when my last one was, and he asked me if there was any way that I could be pregnant, and I laughed. I was sad and thought it was impossible. And I told him that I was sure I couldn't. I was like, maybe I'm being paranoid. I bought some pregnancy tests and they said pregnant. I sent a picture to my boyfriend and asked him if my eyes were working. Due to the effects of transition on my body, it's a high-risk pregnancy. I have to get more ultrasounds than in a common pregnancy, which is especially awful because I don't have insurance to cover that. I had an eating disorder since I was 12, and I wasn't able to finish puberty before I started testosterone, and subsequently, my hip bones aren't even wide enough to accommodate my child's head. On top of that, the atrophy is really painful, and it's not just vaginal atrophy, it's pelvic and uterine and bladder. I was already having problems with incontinence before I got pregnant, which I was taking medicine for and had to quit with the pregnancy. And so that's even worse. And I was taking pain medicine for the pain in my neck and shoulders from the testosterone. I had to quit that with pregnancy, as well as all of the psychiatric medicine I was on that I have finally been prescribed to treat the problem in the first place that I was medicalized for anyway. The hormone imbalance is causing the baby to be big on top of the atrophy causing my own uterus to be small. It's very painful every time he moves. There's not a lot of space for him between my hip bones, particularly to actually deliver. That will not be possible. It's not a choice I can make. And I feel that same way about the breastfeeding too. I know a lot of women do not breastfeed, and that's fine. I'm just sad that I don't get to choose that. And it's not even just the breastfeeding part. My chest is hard and flat and not soft for him, and it's numb for me. And I know he'll feel me, but my chest isn't soft and pillowy the way it's supposed to be, and I have hair on it, and I have scars on it, and when he's there, I won't feel anything. I try not to, but I think a lot about the fact that if I held my baby or if I set my chest on fire, it would feel like the same exact thing. Nothing. I have been throwing up every day and night and in the twilight zone and the times between, all the time, just throwing up because of the severe hormone imbalance. My doctors believe that I have such severe nausea all the time because women normally get morning sickness because of the sudden influx of hormones, the human growth, the progesterone or estrogen, all of that. And he thinks it's so severe for me because I was already low on everything I needed before that. So it's just a bigger jump, a bigger change and shift. And I have to continue to be on progesterone hormones anyway to be able to sustain the pregnancy, so that makes it even higher. I even have to take medicine during my pregnancy to help with my insulin production problems because I didn't know this as a minor, but insulin is a hormone. Insulin is a hormone. And so destroying your endocrine system can change everything. I can't control my weight. My liver is twice the size it's supposed to be. And doctors just don't know what to say. They don't know what to prescribe. They say, I don't know. And it sucks to be in a position where I find myself grateful to hear those words. For detransition, there's no standard of care, no ICD code, nothing, but at least they're telling me they don't know. It's not good news, but it's honest news. It's difficult to be an experiment again, but again, at least there's honest communication about it. I have filed a lawsuit to try to raise awareness, hopefully make doctors choose to take more precaution when prescribing gender-affirming harm to minors or anyone. I very suddenly got an update with 2 weeks, 15 days notice that I was going to have the preliminary hearing for my trial in North Carolina. And living in Michigan, that's quite a far ways to go, and I am 8 months pregnant now, and I didn't want to fly. I drove all the way from Michigan to North Carolina and was sick in like every state on the way as my lovely boyfriend drove and drove and drove. I listened to the defendants attempting to get the case dismissed. They weren't nice, they made me cry. But it wasn't anything terribly unexpected until the judge made a deliberation much quicker than we thought. The case is moving forward on the majority of the charges. This is the first detrans lawsuit to be told it's going forward. I've been told I have a case. I've been told what happened to me needs to be investigated, and we're going to have depositions, tell the story of what happened, be honest. Justice hasn't been a significant theme in my life. I don't know what it looks like or tastes like to even want it. I think it's my own, the gaslighting I've dealt with and my own bad self-image, but I find as I listen to the stories of my friends and what doctors did to them, I am able to be hurt and angry. Harm is the standard of care. What happened was what was supposed to happen. I just became too healthy eventually to continue to buy the lie. Transition and everything completely changed the course of my life. None of this was my plan. I'm really happy that I've been able to turn something so destructive and awful into something good for other people. But as far as myself, I just want peace and security. I don't need a bunch of things. I would just like to feel secure and stable. So I did find out he's a boy. That's so wonderful. I mean, either answer would have been wonderful, but as soon as you know, you start getting attached to the idea. I'm also very happy he's a boy because of the high testosterone, so it'll be less impactful to his health. I'm hoping to have strength and wisdom and discernment so I can decide what to tell him and when. It's been a big lesson, even just, through being an adult, that the right thing doesn't always feel good, and things that feel good aren't always the right thing. I desperately hope that I'm able to impart that knowledge onto my son. I would like him to always feel good and always be happy. So I suppose I'm walking the tightrope between protecting innocence and not creating a child who is disabled and unable to handle the world, because it is bad in some places, and there are people who lie.